Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good evening. We were going to start. We want to start now. We are looking at how to challenge your fears as a woman. We have our panelists here that are going to discuss the fears they went through at a time and how they were able to challenge that fears. So before I call on the panelists, I'm going to share my story, because today we are not going to do too much theory. We are going to share our stories so that you never know who that story can inspire and who can decide to take on that fear she's going through because you just shared your story. So I want to say a very big thank you to all our panelists for agreeing to be part of this event. Now, about 10 years ago, I had a fear. In fact, it started from when I was a child anyway. That fear started from when I was a child because I happen to be someone who does not know how to use my hand for anything. So while I was young, my parents told me, no matter how educated you are, you should know how to use your hand for something. So while we're going through the challenges of people graduating and not having jobs, I started seeing my fellow women who can use their hands to bake cake, who can sew clothes, and they could do anything. You see beautiful, maybe some of them are doing interior decoration, but I couldn't do any of such. So I'm going to play a short video. That video tells you my story. It's actually my story. And because you're part of this today, I'm going to mute everybody now. And I'm not going to allow you to unmute. Only the co-hosts can unmute themselves so that we can really enjoy these stories that we have. So I'm going to just do this now before I play the video. So I'm going to let you watch this video now that tells you my story. And because you are here, because that story is going to be on our website, the story is going to be on our YouTube already. And for those who will just watch the video, they may not understand everything in that video, but you are fortunate to be with me now, the owner of the story. So I'll be able to share and tell you how it happened and how. So please, let's watch this video.
Every child is talented, and it is the role of parents to help the child discover and develop his or her talent. But many parents have not realized that every talent is special. Osemen's father did not realize his son's talent for drawing was a special gift that could determine his son's success in life. He wanted Osemen to become a medical doctor instead, and so he often scolded and discouraged Osemen from drawing. Let's go through the story of Omo. When Omo was in primary school, Omo's parents and teachers told her, no matter the course you read, you must know one handwork. Omo was a science student in secondary school. She had to do one subject in handwork. Handwork has been changed to entrepreneurship now. Omo chose clothing and textile. Her designs were the ugliest in her class. When she finished secondary school, she did not gain admission the same year. So while she was preparing for JAMB, she decided to go to a fashion school to learn fashion design. She was there for more than 1 year. She could not sew a skirt. Before Omo gained admission into higher institution, she felt she was not in the right place by doing science, so she changed from science to commercial and she went to study business administration. After graduation, she had some free time, so she decided to go and learn catering for 6 months. During their examination, her cake design was the ugliest. Omo became frustrated because she does not know any handwork. Years later, she met a talent development consultant who told her the best career for her is the career she loves, and the career she loves starts from her God-given talent. She asked the consultant what that means. The consultant said, "Okay, tell me the things you love to do naturally." She said, "I love to talk and to write." The consultant said, "For someone who has your talent, let us look at all the careers he or she can do." Lawyer, almost said, "No way." Broadcaster, she said no. Comedian, she said, "I cannot even make myself laugh." Actor, she said no. Teacher, she said, "Yes, I love to teach." But Omo already studied business administration. The consultant said you can still do it. Go for PhD in education and do masters in education. So Omo went for PhD in education and masters in educational management. Omo became one of the greatest teachers of our time, an educator par excellence with so much love for her pupils. Today, Omo is a well sought after trainer. She has trained thousands of people, and Omo has affected many lives positively with her books, articles, and videos. Omo is the founder and CEO of this amazing training company, Today's Leaders International. Love Omoza Oladele is determined to help many parents discover and develop their kids' talents. In Today's Leaders International, we develop the interests of kids in entrepreneurship right from the age of 4 years, guiding them to realize the importance of creating and giving value from the young age. Working with parents, we help their kids discover and develop their talents. Our training packages and workshops are designed to equip both the kid and parents with the right tips and competence necessary to identify and harness that talent that is unique to the kid. If you have kids 4 to 12 years of age, get them on board our family business and let's jointly shape a responsible, dependable, and most productive future for them. Your kids are today's leaders.
So that was my story. I was totally confused at that time, growing up, teenager, until I was even in my 20s. I was confused because I thought that it was abnormal for me not to know how to use my hands. Even as I talk to you now in my house, there's a limit to the number of soup I can cook. If it's possible, I won't enter the kitchen. Until I met that talent development consultant. Now, the little things, I spent, let me just, like I said, because now you're meeting the owner of the story. When I was in Lagos, when I went to learn fashion designing, I learned for 1 good year. I could not I could not do hemming of the skirt. I remember how my fellow apprentices, because they were calling us apprentices, they used to laugh at me. That what kind of human being are you? And I would be like, what kind of human being am I really? And when I went to my catering school, I went into Women Development Center in Abuja here. That was around 2012. I was a class rep. Even though I was a class rep, I had the ugliest cake. The ugliest cake. So when they asked us to do it, was during exam, and I was laughing at myself that what is this? Now, meeting that talent development consultant, it changed my life. Because what did that person do? What did I get out? I was able to accept myself for who I am. She was able to make me see that my talent is not in all the things I was looking for. It's just that my parents didn't understand the impact of talent in the life of children. So no one ever told my parents about importance of getting out the talent of the children. So my mom or my dad didn't know. All they kept saying to me was, you need to know and work. And I grew up with that. Now, what did I get from meeting the talent development consultant that helped me to overcome my fear? The first one is that you should be willing to accept yourself. Because I now discovered that my talent is in talking. Even in that talking, we have, because when I was discussing with talent development consultant, even in talking, I could be a lawyer or I could be a comedian. So I had options of what I could become. But as she was telling me all that, I said, no, I think I want to be a teacher. I've always loved to train. And that helped me. She just simply said, okay, go do PhD in education and master's in education. Unfortunately, I went to do both. Even though I am not in the core education now, I still do training. So you see me doing training like every day of my life. That's the only thing I never get tired of. Training is the only business or only job I can do for free. So I was so grateful to God that I discovered at that time. So now I have accepted myself. I admire those great women who can bake. I admire the ones that can sew. My fashion designer, for instance, I admire her talent. So what I just do now is to admire that talent while I love myself for who I am. I'm a trainer. So you need to learn to accept yourself. And you should be willing to open up to someone. If you're going through a particular challenge, learn to open up to someone. Don't hold it to yourself. What some people do is holding things on to themselves. And if you hold on to yourself, you may never find the solution. But if you go out there and talk to someone, just keep looking for the right person you can talk to, then open to someone. Then get ready to learn. So when the talent development consultant said to me, if your talent is in teaching, you will need to go for PhD in education, master's in education. I went for my PhD in education, master's in education, but I didn't stop there. Till today, I pay for training. I love to train. Whether the training is a free one or a paid one, as far as I know, I could get value. You will see me going for training. I dedicate my life to a life of learning, because I know that in life, the day you stop learning is the day you start dying. I say that to people a lot because people do not realize it. A lot of people, once they graduate from school, those who are going to school, they just stop reading or stop learning. They don't know what they are doing to themselves. You're killing yourself if you're not learning, because you cannot grow. You will just remain constant. You remain where you are. So you need to devote yourself to a life of learning. They'll also get ready to take action, because action is where the result is. You must be ready. Once you have learned, one thing about me, once I learn, I use. What I learn, I use. Once you're learning, be ready to use it. If you're learning and not using it, it's a wasted, you're just wasted your money to learn. It's a wasted effort. So most of the time when I'm learning something, I'm using it so that I can achieve what I've expended in learning that thing. Then never wait till when you are perfect to set out. Never wait till when you are perfect to set out. Because I remember when I wanted to start my training business, I used to go on radio, and then the journalists, they used to laugh at me because they would tell me I don't know how to speak well, I don't know how to pronounce some words. So they used to laugh at me, some of the journalists I would meet there. But then I would go do my wrong pronunciation, if you call that. I would go do all my things imperfectly on radio, and yet I will have a lot of attendance in my program. 5 good years, one of the journalists that used to laugh at me then approached me and said, "Love, what are you doing?" I said, "But you people say I don't know how to pronounce well now." So, but what did I do? Even though they keep telling me that, also I was learning. I was not perfect when I started, and I'm still not even perfect now. I don't even think I can be perfect, but I was learning and I was still using it immediately. Not waiting for all the lights to become green. So learning also to launch out and be ready to say, oh, I will keep learning and I will keep growing. I remember one of the radio stations, because they are government radio stations, so private radio stations now came up and people listen more. And for us, I'm a businesswoman, so I go to where I can get my customers. So I started going to the private stations where people listen more. So about 10 years after, I went back to one of the government radio stations. And as I was talking, one of them approached me and said, "Love, you have improved so much. Oh, you're better now." I was laughing. I said, "It's because even though you guys told me I wasn't perfect, even though you told me I couldn't pronounce some words well, I did not stop. I kept doing." So it is in the doing, it is in the non-stopping that you will get the result. So you need to keep on doing. Now, another fear that I had to deal with in my life was the fear of choosing to do internet business. And I had a fear that I don't know if I was going to succeed. It was a big fear for me because in my first 3 years of doing internet business, I failed woefully. I would lose all my money. And I'll be like almost borrowing to start another one. So it was a tough one. That period was tough. But I was so adamant that I have heard that people make money online. I have read. I've actually met some people. So I just felt I would be able to do it. But it was a tough one. And what made it very tough for me was that I had a husband who said to me every time I come home failed again in another business, that would keep reminding me that you better go and be selling in one shop, go and sell products, go and sell things in one shop. So let me know that you are selling something. Every time my husband would tell me, you better go and be selling, let me know you're selling something. And that period was always tough. I just kept on. It took me going to look for a mentor. That's why for me, I say to people, when you have a mentor, they shorten your journey for you. So what could take you 30 years? Because you have a mentor, it could just take you 5 years or 10 years. So I got a mentor and I started following the tutelage of my mentor. That helped me to break even. So something happened last year, December. My husband had a little challenge financially, and he said I should give him a loan of 1 million naira. So I gave him that loan, and he said, when I was giving him that money, I was like, I wish every woman can just hold on to their dreams, no matter what they are going through. Because it will come to a time when you will succeed in that dream. And all those who were thinking that you cannot succeed may even now approach you for one help or the other. Now, do I bear grudges against my husband? No. We are still together. We are still happily married. His greatest fear at that time was, I don't want to have a liability as a wife. That was his greatest fear. That was his greatest concern. And I want to put to you now, especially for all women, if you're here, that if you think you have a problem in your home now, go and check. It may probably just be finance. I went for a program 2 days ago, and the man was talking about stress. And he said, what causes stress more for women or for even for homes is lack of money. So stay there and believe that it can work. Then go out there to see how and what can make it work. Now, when I was failing, I kept trying. You may change some things, but keep trying. When you have discovered that I want to be here, I love this thing, keep trying. You may navigate, you may change a little bit in your direction, but just stay there. I just said to myself, in the world of internet business, I'm going to make a name for myself. And I stayed there, and I'm still there. I'm not going anywhere. In fact, it's getting better. It's getting bigger. Now, for you to succeed online, you need to learn to sell yourself. So I had to master how to sell myself online. Because when you master how to sell yourself, you would also master how to sell your products and your services. So the first thing I learned was how to sell myself online. Then I went ahead to learn how to sell my products and services. Now, I run a company called Today's Leaders Consulting. That's been my business name for the past 10 years. But now we are metamorphosing. We are getting bigger. So we now have what we call Today's Leaders International. And the major goal is to help business owner succeed. It's an online business school where we want to show people how to run their business successfully. We are going to have skills, we have different vocational skills. So it means that even if you are not an entrepreneur, if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, you can be part of what we are doing. Because once you come in and you learn the skill, the next class or the next stage, you will start learning digital marketing. The next stage, we start exposing you to growth strategies and exposing you to so many other entrepreneurs that are successful, and they will also be guiding you. We have mentoring. It's a total concept on building entrepreneurship. So what we want to do is, for those who are my women group, I said every woman who wants to succeed in business should be part of what we are doing. But we are about to launch, we are going to launch, God willing, towards the end of this month. We are going to get back to everyone that is part of this training. So I had many fears, but those were my two major fears. And the first one I conquered because I opened up to somebody. And the second one also I conquered because I got a mentor that mentored me. So those were the two ways I used personally to conquer my fears. Now, on this note, I'm going to now go over to our different panelists. I'm going to go over to our different panelists. I'll call you one after the other to share your story with us so that our friends that are here can listen and learn from the story. So I'm going to start with Ugochi. So Ugochi.
Hello.
You're welcome. Thank you. That's Ugochi Uwokeji. Thank you for joining us. So
it's my pleasure.
So basically, I want you to tell us about your fears. That fear that you had at the point and how you were able to challenge the fear.
Okay, so first of all, I like to start with, it's very challenging to say that, what is that fear? As in, I always have fear. Even right now, I'm afraid. There are so many things I have fears for.
Yes.
I'm always afraid. There's always fear. There's always something challenging me. There's always this fear of, can I do this? Can I achieve this? So I have always had fears like all my life, but I'm going to talk about one particular one. And that was quitting my 9 to 5 job. Um, I don't think I don't think there has been anything as crazy as quitting your job without having a plan B and without saving enough money. I remember when I said I was going to quit, my family was mad. And trust me, there was nothing wrong with the company. It was a multinational company. They were paying me well. They actually promoted me to, you know, a managerial position at the time. So there was prospects for growth. And just after the promotion, I said, I don't want to do this anymore. Everybody thought I was crazy. They thought I was going through depression. They actually told me to go to travel and take care of myself. I told them this was not about traveling. And I spoke with everybody, church people, family. Everybody was against it, but I still went ahead and quit. Did I have fears? Yes, great fears. What were my fears? My fears basically were, hope I will not die. Hope, how much time will I stay without money? The money I have, this salary that I have, how much will it sustain me? What if I don't get another job? What if I don't get a business of my choice? What if? There were all those questions, but I still went ahead and quit. Crazy. So how do I challenge my fears? I still do the same crazy things till today. Trust me, I have not stopped. My life cannot change without me trying crazy things. But this is what I would easily tell people, that in order for you to face your fears, the first thing I would tell anybody is know thyself. Nobody can know you more than you. You need to understand who you are, what you are, your goals. For instance, I would call back to your story when you said that everybody wanted you to do handwork. That is not Love Oladile. She can't do handwork. She can't sew. But she had to go back. She discovered herself. Without that discovery, maybe you're still going around today, still trying to make beads. You're lost, kind of. So for me, the first thing that anybody, any woman, man, human being living, is that you need to understand yourself. Who am I? Once you understand that question, when people are saying don't go, you're going. Because nobody can understand you as much as you do. So the first thing for me is that I know myself. I know I'm crazy. I know that I will not die. So when I was going to quit, I tell myself, dear, I cannot die now. Which kind die? I can't die fire. I ask myself some questions, and I always use positive and negative questions. So the positive and negative question is, for instance, what if I die? That's negative. The positive is, what if I don't die? The negative again could be, what if I don't make money? The positive is, what if I make money? So I look at what I feel more, and I take the positive. And that has always been how I'm able to face. There are sometimes you don't even have a particular reason. And, the fact that you keep asking yourself, this is me. Who am I? Can I do this? Can I achieve that? And you ask yourself the basic questions in life. And, the moment you have your why, you need to understand your why. Why am I doing this? Why do I need to do this? If you don't understand your why, you just be going zigzag. Somebody will see me say, go she quit. She's doing well. Hey, you know how to go and quit. I'm treating your malaria. I'm sorry. You can't quit because I quit. You can quit if it is your kind of person, if it is your personality. I went into a business that people thought I was crazy doing. I went to clean. How could you quit a multinational company and start cleaning? Are you crazy or what? At that time, it was crazy. Today, I have so many people who want to join the business. I have so many people who want to do the same thing I'm doing. and it has worked for me. It has worked for me greatly. Like, I don't know how to say. First of all, is that you need to understand yourself. Facing my fears. One, I know myself. Two, I ask myself same positive and negative questions. Three, I understand my why. Why am I doing this? What am I going to achieve? I stick with the positive part of the questions all the time. The positives always keep me going, aside the why. And most importantly, whether we like it or not, the supernatural is there. If I don't know who, this is a public platform, so I really don't know what people believe in, but there's always the belief in the supernatural, something greater than human beings, somebody greater than the human being, something out of this world where we go to get our inner energy. I have known most successful people depend on that. I have seen it. Oprah Winfrey did that, Bill Gates. And when you see these big people talking about supernatural, what's it called? We just played the video of Lisa Nichols. And you realize that you do not even have a choice than to believe in God. Some people believe in the universe, some people believe in, I don't know what it is, but first of all, you need to understand the supernatural. Second, you need to understand who you are. Third, you have to ask yourself basic questions, understand your why. And with that, you're going to achieve greater heights. So for me, quitting my job was one of the craziest things I've done. Did it pay me? Also, well, I met Mrs. Love Oladele because I quit my job. Because if I was comfortable, collecting money every day, I wouldn't meet her. I've met network of people today that, your network is your net worth. So it's really not about how much I get, but the people I have in my life, the value I get, the people who build me, the people I build, it is worth more than millions. Yes, the millions are important too. Let's don't play with that one at all. Let's please not enter that side at all. The millions are important, but the people who help you to get to this point, are important. So for me, challenging my fears basically is, I know who I am. I know what I'm going for. I stick with the positive. I know my why. And the sky is just too small for me. There are greater ways. So first of all, you need to be brave. And then, the sky is just the beginning for all of us. Okay. So that's
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I've picked some things, I've learned some things already for what you. I like your emphasis on knowing yourself. That is a good one. Knowing yourself. Okay, so thank you, Ugochi. Okay, I'm going to the next panelist now. I'm going to the GM of Love FM Abuja, Anele Lillian. I'm going to my good friend, Lillian, Alele William. So you have the floor.
Okay, good day, Love Oladele, and every other beautiful lady on this platform. And I can see some guys too. It's our fun. Happy International Women's Month.
Thank you. That's true.
Yes. We have been celebrating. In fact, this month a lot has happened, and I'm sure that we all enjoyed it. And thank you to Love Oladele. You are always coming up with something new.
Thank you.
Once you feel you have no Love Oladele, she comes up with another thing. You are an amazing woman, and I celebrate you. And I'm happy to be one of your panelists. You are good at what you do. And some of us are still learning from you. It's not about position, but it's about knowing yourself. Like the other lady said, you need to know yourself. So, love, you have carved the niche for yourself. And we're learning from you. So, having said that, I'm Lillian Anele, GM of Love FM. When Love brought this topic, I was like, there are so many fears, so we all have many fears, but she said because of time, we should stick to one. So I will stick to just one. But for us to understand fear, I want to take one quote from Robin Sharma. And the quote goes like this: the fear you don't face becomes your limit. the fear you don't face becomes your limit. And I will share a typical example of what happened to me. I became the general manager of Love FM. That's precisely 5 years ago. And prior to that time, I was already a manager. I was heading the marketing department. And I've been working with Love Oladele ever before then. But when the general manager needed to move, he sent his letters and recommended me in that letter. I didn't know. I was close to him, but I didn't know because I was not aspiring to be a general manager because I knew the wahala involved in that position. It was not my thing. I was not interested. I was just good with my marketing, do my marketing, follow with my clients, have good time, and pursue my career. I wanted, because as at then, I've done my master's, so I wanted to, I've enrolled for my PhD. So I didn't want any distraction of general manager with operations and all that. So when our group managing director came and said, we have all known that the manager has done well and he's moving on. The next person to come on board is a woman, like all of you knew. And people turned at me. I kept mute. I was praying in my heart. I said, God, it will not be me. It will not be me. And, and lo and behold, because I was more of the senior persons there, they mentioned Lily and Annie. And you know what? I busted into tears. See, this is not tears of joy, my people. You know, you can cry. This is not tears of joy. I cried because I knew what was, ahead of me. I knew the challenges. I knew how the other man was struggling. So when you have to work with people, you have to take care of the equipment. Everything is just on you. So I just cried. They were like, madam, congratulations. Everyone was congratulating. They were jubilating, feasting. They ordered for things. I didn't test anything that day. And if this stopped, I got home, I continued to cry. My husband was like, please, if you can't do it, just resign so that you won't go and kill yourself in this people. You're supposed to be happy. I said, I'm not happy because I know what it entails. But I had to face my fears. I didn't want to disappoint myself. I had a lot of people who believed in me. So I had to face my fears. And I knew that my fears was on administration. How do I run this company without incurring losses? Because I am an emotional person. So I had to constitute members that I felt would work with me. I had to give everybody job description afresh. I told them, the other man has done his own. I don't know how he was able to survive, but this is how I want us to do it. And I told them, if I succeed, all of you succeed. If I don't succeed, maybe the next person coming on board might not recognize you people. So I was able to talk to them, appeal to their conscience that we need to carry this fact together. And they agreed with me. We started off 1 year, 2 years. But before that, something happened. Every branch, we have branches. Every branch is expected to reduce your overhead costs. And prior to that time, our plants were always breaking down, popularly known as generators. They were always breaking down. You bring this person to fix, you get this company, it was the same thing. What I did, I went to my friend in another station. He's also a general manager. And I said, babe, I'm having challenge in my plants. They keep breaking down and I'm spending so much. She said, okay, I'll give a contact. I'll give you a contact to my own plant manager. He will help you. He has worked with several companies and he's very outstanding, very diligent, and he won't connive with anybody, including your managers, to do anything wrong. And I accepted that. But she gave me the man's contact. I invited him. He gave me a quote from his company. And lo and behold, as I speak, my branch is about the best branch in terms of operation.
Wow.
That I
Congratulations.
Thank you. So reason being that I asked the right questions. I sought help. So as a woman, if you know your fears, you need to reach out. At times you can't face your fears alone. You need to have that legion of people around you. You need to have that confidence. You need to have that trust. At times we fear so much that we don't trust people. But believe you me, there are times you need to trust people to help you. And that is one breaking point that up till now, my plans don't break down. I service them when they are due. I don't spend unnecessary money on it. And they keep asking me, in fact, my head office has asked me, please, who is in charge of your plans? Can you recommend him to us? I've recommended him to them, and I think they have a discussion going on. So what I'm trying to, so that I don't take so much of your time, it made my work easy. I don't cry about the positions anymore, even though there are challenges, but I know I'm able to overcome. And there are some points that I need to give out that will help you. If you have a fear, you need to identify what that fear is. Some persons have different fears, but understand at that particular point in time, what is that fear? What is that fear that is challenging you? You need to identify it. Nobody will. You have to be the person to identify your fear. Then what is the story behind that fear? Why are you actually afraid of that? You need to tell yourself that this is why I'm afraid of it. And not that you have to be a good writer. You have to write. Don't trust your brain to have everything. You have to write so that when next you come to revisit what you have written, you have where to continue. Then you have to investigate it. Investigate yourself. Investigate your fears. And most times when you investigate it, you will find out that there's actually nothing there. You are the one who is magnifying it and making it look big. So when you investigate and you find out that, okay, this is the reason why I'm having this, then you put, process, you put plan in place. How do I confront it? You have to challenge it. Don't quit. Quitters are never winners. So if you want to confront your fears, you have to be ready for battle. It doesn't be a physical battle, but you have to be ready to do what you're supposed to do so that you can come up. And don't be afraid of failing. That was part of my fear. I don't want to fail. I've been an A student, so I don't want anything that will make me fail. And they say, this woman didn't do well. It was part of my fear. But, in the course of management, going for trainings like Love Oladele said, I do a lot of online training. Any course I see, if it's free, I will go. If I need to pay little money, I do it. Because one word will change your life, like motivational speakers. Just one word is what you know, what you need to know that will change that situation. So I go for training and it has helped me. And so some fears still come, fears. But when it comes, I tell myself, you have survived the other one. This one will not break you down. So,
yes.
So you are able to. Sorry, Love Oladiland, I think I've taken so much of your time.
Your point. Just 1 more minute, your point. You have only 1 minute more.
Okay, so just challenge it. And I will leave you with another quote. As mothers, as leaders, we should lead from our homes. There is another quote, says, your child will follow your example, not your advice. So when you have issues, what do? You cry before your child or you give up? But when you are consistent with what you do, you also raise people who are consistent. You raise children who don't give up when they are faced with challenges. And it's always good to carry people along so that they know that it's not as easy as they think. But because you're able to confront it in a brave manner, that's why you have won. And you'll be appreciated more. So don't be afraid of failing. Keep striving. Face your fears. Challenge, investigate, and challenge your fears. And you will see you'll come out victorious. Thank you, Love, that lady on this panel.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We are learning. I like what people are saying. If you're learning, please, let's see, put it on the chat box. I'm learning. What are you learning? Put it on the chat box. So right now, I'll be going over to someone much older than me. As a matter of fact, I call her my mommy. She is indeed my mommy. And she is so humble. I will be doing classes. You will see this mommy of mine, so sitting down in the class, learning even more, far more than so many young people. Now, I have a women group that contains about 90-something people. How many of them are here? But even if she wasn't in the panelists, she will be one of the first persons that will be here. Always willing to learn. And I'm also learning from her as well. So I'm going to call my mommy. Let me see if I've given you co-host so that you can actually Okay, I'm going to give her co-host too now. Okay, she's a co-host already. So, mommy, you have the floor. Let's listen to you. Let's learn from you.
Hello, everyone out there. Good afternoon, all the ladies and all the men in the house.
Good afternoon, mommy.
Congratulations to every woman all over the world. I'm particularly delighted. Love Oladile, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
There's a popular say that we women, we don't like each other. But I want to correct that statement today. It is not true. Every woman out there loves each other. For you giving us this opportunity, I want to say thank you so much, Love Oladile.
Thank you, mommy.
What is my fear? The greatest thing I've ever feared in my life was being fat, obesity. I grew up in a home where I saw a mother that was fat, lived with a mother that was fat, and it got to a point, she got sick about the age of 45. Until she died at 58, she struggled with her weight. It was so terrible that it got to a point that I was asking, why will my mother be alive? Because the torture was too much. And when I was turning 50, about 14 years ago, I realized that sudden fear suddenly came upon me because I took so much like my mom. In every inch, I was like my mom. When I got married, I became also very fat. But I never was really troubled because I had a husband who was supportive. I had family members who were supportive. Nobody questioned my being obese. But the turning point came when I saw my mom, that she was really dying as a result of complications of obesity. She had blood pressure. She survived stroke twice. She had arthritis. Got to a point she even lost her sight. She even lost her memory. So it was really a torture and it was really a fear that am I going to end up my life like that? Even though I was a trained nurse, it never really occurred to me what she was going through at that particular time until when she now died and it became a reality that if I don't do something about my weight, I will probably end like her. So my journey to challenging my fear actually started. I would not want to tell all that I did because I did a lot of things. My journey was so funny. I went through all kinds of challenges. It got to a point that I was seeing my fears in my very eyes. I was beginning to see myself sick. Meanwhile, I was not sick. It was just psychological. It was just psychological. It was really bad. I had every encouragement from every family member, yet the fear wouldn't just leave me. Until one day, I was in the US and I turned on the screen and I saw Dr. Oz. I don't know if most of you were familiar with Dr. Oz. And I saw when the man had some people on his program, and they were talking about fears, and the fears was about being obese. You know, in the US, a lot of people suffer from obesity. And there, bam, that was my turning point. I listened to the program from the beginning to the end. And I learned so much about that, on how you can psychologically psych your mind about food. That was when I was made to understand that food was the major issue in being obese. So that was when I actually took challenge about my weight and I started to do something about it. I stopped all the yo-yo dieting. There was no any yo-yo dieting you can ever think of. Even the recent one that is called, what did they do now? Is it, I can't remember the name now. The one that is very popular now, I tried to do it there. Then it was called Dr. Atkins. I did it. I did not succeed. I wouldn't want to call names now because I wouldn't want to spoil anybody's business. There's this particular lady that is done all over the world. I did her program twice, very costly. I did not get it. I did not get my result. Until it was so bad with me that I would go to Redeemed Christian Camp outskirts of Ibadan, outskirts of Lagos, to go and pray for God's divine intervention for this weight issue, to let you people know how serious I was, until when I really got to understand that it was food. Then I started challenging the fears. From time to time, I started, workout and exercising. I'd always been an exercise person right from time. But this time I had to really get serious about it. Watching my diet, a couple of things, detoxifying, supplementation, come to think of it. And before you knew it, in a period of 18 months, I lost 65 kg. This period, I cut off from every social activity. I used to be a very big socialite. You can even see me now with my gele on. I'm in a wedding party right now, so to say. I had to actually come out to be part of this program because the inside of the hall is very, very noisy. So that's how I was able to challenge my fears. So all you women out there, I want to encourage you today. Fear itself is a torment. Fear is a torment. You have to learn how to fight fears. And once you are able to learn how to fight the fears, you become in charge of that particular thing that is staring before your very face. Today, I'm happy. I can boldly tell every one of you listening to me that I've been able to help a lot of women who suffered what I suffered. So I encourage everyone out there today: be bold, be yourself, be happy. The world will never crash down because of the fears. Fears is just a torment. Once you are able to challenge yourself, bring the fears before your very eyes, you will conquer. And once you conquer, you become a champion. And once you are a champion, you are everything else you can ever think of. So thank you so much for this great opportunity.
Thank you, mommy. Thank you, mommy. Actually, I'm one of the women she's helping. I'm one of the women she's helping because I like food, though. But I am watching it. I'm doing my part.
You have to.
I'm doing my best because you look more beautiful when you are trimming. So we'll get there. Okay, thank you, mommy. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to go to the next person. Madam Miriam Bobo, we are coming your way. Madam Miriam Bobo is my beautiful sister I met about in 2016, yes, when we were doing a particular business together. She and my big auntie, Auntie Antonia. And these two women, I respect them a lot. Since that time, there are two women that I respect in this industry. So I'm always reaching out to them. And they always honor me. So thank you for honoring me. God will honor you as well. So, Madam Miriam.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone.
Welcome.
Congratulations to us ladies in the house. And yes, I'm glad to be listen to us. So me listening to everybody that has spoken, I said, okay, so all my fears are legit and all my strategies and my ways are also legit as well. Although I always tell people I am a very highly opinionated person, it's hard for you to get me off my opinions. If I really want something like Sister Ugochi have mentioned, if you know yourself, you would not want to have anybody derail you from where you are going to. So that is number one fear, actually, for most people that I know. Is because they're afraid of going. They rather check people's opinions, and sometimes they ask the wrong people for advices. So when you are challenged, you need to ask the right people. So for me, all of them spoke about a challenge I took on because yes, I was working in a bank. I resigned. I moved back into the ministry, cutting about even less than half of what I was earning in the bank because I just didn't feel right there. For me, yes, I am also thinking about, not thinking, I've made up my mind. It's just that I have not made it public yet, even to the family, about quitting my job. I'm an engineer working with the federal government and I intend to bow out And yes, I am also towing Ogochi's line. I found out 2 things that I love most. And yes, I had to go through somebody who is a lifestyle coach. And we were talking and she asked me, I told her my life is just, it's not that I'm not happy, but I feel that I lack purpose up till now. I've not gotten a grasp of my purpose. I tried to learn to sew. I've even bought a sewing machine. I've quit on it. I tried a lot of things, but it's not going. Just I don't feel the passion. When I start, after a while, I just quit. And the number one question this coach told me, so I'm buttressing the point Madam Love have said, that you really need to talk to somebody sometimes when you are challenged and feel boxed up, to get clarity. And I asked her, I just needed clarity. I want to be, I know I'm happy, I'm okay, but there is still a pressure weighing me and telling me I need to go somewhere and I'm not in the right cycle. And she asked me 2 things. What is it that I love to do? I told her 2 things I love to do, and I love to teach. She said 2 things you will do without getting paid for, and it wouldn't bother you. I said, I love to teach. I can teach I can come tired. I run a network marketing, I'm a professional in the network marketing industry. So I have a large team. And I could go stress all through the day. I'm in the meetings, I get tired, come back home, but I will train. You ask a question and I will start teaching. So teaching, number one thing. And so I've just gotten clarity, and I'm taking Madam Love's advice. I'm going in for the PGD education as well, and hopefully the master's in education. That's a point I've taken from her. Although I was thinking of going through, and I noticed that one thing I told her I do naturally is I could just give you a solution to any business problem that you have. And a lot of my friends will say, wow. And it is just there, it's just that we never knew. And this is something people pay people to analyze and give them a strategic move for a way forward in their businesses. So actually, from that session I had, I've planned to go for an education. I'm an engineer, so I'm a science student. So now I said, it's now about the time that I need to divert, because I'm not having job satisfaction. I'm not having the passion for as an engineer as I would want to be. So I've just started getting on courses that I need to go on to learn more on the entrepreneurship skill and strategic business strategist skills. I need to get those skills for me to be out there and even speak with authority. Although a lot of people I've spoken to, they've found solution from what I've told them. And the other thing is, I said two main things. Aside teaching, I love to clean. So when she said she retired towards cleaning, that is a fear at the moment that I have. I've told myself, I'm about to launch. I've even gotten a company. I've even done a lot of research. So the past 1 week, in my busy time, I've come back from work and I make sure I am touching and I'm reading on cleaning. I am not that I am a perfectionist, but I grew in a home where cleanliness is key. My daddy would want to see his face on the louvers in the house. You know, before it was louvers, not the glass windows. So I can go to people's house. Truly, I can go to people's house now, and when I see dust, I have to hold myself and resist the urge of getting up to clean. So this is something I've told people that, yes, I have to suppress my urge. And then the fact that every time you're having, you recruit house helps, domestic staff, and then they are cutting corners, they're not cleaning properly. So I said, no. I know a lot of women, I spoke to a lot of women, and they've mentioned this as a challenge. This now is something I can do. I can launch a business in home housekeeping. And then I'm training people and I'm working with people who would have a passion to see clean places, a passion to see everywhere sparkling, and we could work and also solve other people's problem at a fee. I mean, that's what we do as entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So yes, yeah, I'm taking these bold steps now out of my fears. And then the truth is, yes, you need to speak to somebody and you need to trust. I've had to relinquish my fears, that my challenges that I've fears that I've overcome, that are quite plenty. Like I said, so maybe Madam Love, you signal me when my 10 minutes is about going. I have a rental outfit. I've not been able to be there because I am an introvert by nature. So don't look at me talking to you through this device. It's because I'm alone in my comfort zone here at home. So I told somebody, I've not been able to fully maximize this business, and the whole of my money I've put it into this business, which put me into a broke state. I didn't have liquid cash, but I had the asset. So somebody said, your problem is you don't trust. Learn to trust. So somebody mentioned trust here. So you need to trust. So I let go of that outfit and I've given somebody to handle it. And I've told myself, what you focus on, expand. If I keep thinking that they were going to cheat me, then I will attract the cheating and I would weigh myself down. So I've let go and I've started seeing returns from this business. So learn to trust. Yes, I know a lot of people are out there waiting to cheat you on your hard-earned money, but you need to learn to trust as well. That's the only way you would go. Be spiritual. With somebody has mentioned it here. I do that a lot now. And it's true. If you see how successful people work, what you focus on, expand. I just dropped that. So you need to focus on the positivities and drop the negatives aside. I wake up asking God for things. I always tell people, even little, I'm in a product network marketing business, and I even ask God, please, I want to sell something. That is how little the question I can ask. I can appreciate everything. Yes, you have not, they said, because you ask not. So asking. Things will not happen because you are forcing it to happen. It happens because God allows it to happen. So you need to get to that point. People say, I cannot talk to, so I cannot do this. This cannot happen. Recently, my company increased the product prices, and a lot of people are afraid to even tell customers the new prices. And I told them that I'm going to go out of this shell. The first thing I need to do is I'm going to send messages. I'm going to call people and I'm going to tell them, these are the products that I have. And these are the benefits of these products. It's now going for this price. And I would want you to try them out. I want you to do that. And lo and behold, I prayed over it. And within one day, I'd made so much sales. So I went back to my team and I told them, I even posted the alerts and everything. I've showed them the messages. I said, okay, if we all keep fearing that people will not attend to us because the prices of products have gone down and we are not even going to ask, then we are restricting ourselves and we're not moving forward. I went across the fear of being rejected to ask, and I've gotten people to come in and say, yes, we will patronize you. And a lot of people, one thing I strongly tell people is the fear of investing. That is what is holding a lot of people back. The fear of investing and the fear of maybe reducing your standard to a level. Like I told you, I put the whole of my money into my rental outfit. It's not yielding returns. I had issues in my business before, so I didn't have money. And my landlord gave us a quick notice, not because we couldn't pay. We've got another place, but my pain was I put up that house to my taste. And at that point, what was going on in my mind, and it's what I've put on God's table, is I need my own house. I'm tired of taking up everything, and I needed more money. But because at that time it was just salary. I went back, the business wasn't working, so it was just me and my salary, and it's never enough. Civil servants were always Oliver Twist, so it's never enough. But in that small salary, at that point, I got an opportunity to go into real estate. I didn't have the money. What I did was, if I had taken a loan on my salary, I wouldn't have even got too much. I went to an external person who would not mind how much my salary was, and I took a loan. That loan zapped the whole of my salary, and I was going to be earning, if I paid the repayment monthly, I was going to be earning 17,000 naira monthly. So at Crossroad at that point, I said, okay, my husband is providing, but the bulk of my own responsibility, I've taken it off him. He's also a civil servant. I said, okay, take care of the kids. But I've told myself there are two options. Either I keep staying in rented houses that I don't like, I'm not happy about, because I just want to keep spending my salary. I see my salary the way it is, or I take this bull by the horn now, take this loan, invest in this business, work on other small businesses that I had around me, and see how things would go far. I was willing to downgrade, and I did that. So the fear of downgrading sometimes also stops people from moving forward. I downgraded my lifestyle. I didn't stop pushing my business. One was bad, as one stopped, another one wasn't progressing. It didn't stop me from venturing into other businesses. I'm still launching other businesses, and say I found a solution for that other one, and it has started yielding results. Today, I'm on my way to earning my own personal apartment from that investment. And guess what? I doubled up because I did something. I ventured into real estate. I started I joined a new business. And from that business, I started making money more than my monthly salary. So I was able to pay the loan without even remembering that I was even on a loan, because when the 17,000 naira salary came, I had more than enough to cushion that effect. But it was because I took I challenged the fear that time of saying, I was not going to get money, so I'm going to hold on to my salary. And I invested it, and I went out of my way. And I told myself, I didn't psych myself that what if money would not come? What if I pay my loan repayment and I'm suffering too much? No, I went with a positive mindset that I was going to do it. I was going to make money. And this loan repayment is not going to weigh me down. And it didn't weigh me down. Wow. I got enough money. Now this business is paying me even 3 times, 4 times my salary in a month. And wow. Simply because I challenged my fear and I went for that thing. So I bet you can do that as well. Challenge that fear you have of spending and investing today. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Madam Love.
Thank you for that beautiful story. Yeah, we are learning. Ladies, are you learning? Put it in the chat box if you're learning. Now I'm moving on to Madam Joy. She came in first. She was the first person. So don't say, love, you don't love me. Let me first come. Let me they put for last. You're my good friend, so I can do that to you. So I'm going to Joy Ayima. She's going to tell us our own beautiful story. I met her about 3 years ago, and I just like her person. There was a business I did. She wasn't in my team. I wasn't in her team. But any question I have, I'll just go to her. And she would just provide the answer. I just said to, this is the kind of person that I like. Because some people, when you're not in their team, no, you're not in my team, so I can't. But she was just there every time. So Joy, let's listen to your fears. I know you have many challenges, just like many of us have said.
Yeah, many, but because of our time, let me appreciate all the women that have spoken today. I want to celebrate each and every one of you. Listening to people like this helps us to see that, we are not alone. When you talk of fear, you are not alone in that space. And people are overcoming fears, becoming better. So if it is possible for Mr. A or Mrs. A, know that it is possible for you. Now, we have been mentioning fear. What exactly is fear? It's just an unpleasant emotion that comes from the threat of having something bad happen to you. It could be a pain, it could be harm, or something like that. Now, were we born with fear? No. We learned fear. How do we know? If you see children, even if there's fire, they just crawl to the place. Babies, they just crawl to the fire. Until they touch it, they won't stop. But as they grow, they begin to learn the fear. So the same way we have learned fear, we can unlearn it. Fear, some people will define fear as it's not real. Fear is real. It could be real. You could have something that is actually, threatening you. It could be loss of love from probably a husband or a wife, as the case may be, loss of a job, being in their need of financial support or something like that. So that is real. And one thing we need to know is that fear paralyzes. Now, I started very well in life. I had a good start family-wise, job-wise, and all of that. At the point I was in banking, I was doing well and all of that. But one thing I realized was that every time I was on leave, a lot of ideas would come to me. I want to do this, I want to do that. I'll say, okay, when I get back, I'll be doing this after work and all. But I found out that the job was so tasking. I was initially with the IT department. Then I went into IT audits. So even sometimes on Sundays, I had to be at work then. So all those dreams, all those aspirations, all those things those ideas were dying. Those ideas were dying. And I told myself I couldn't continue. But there was the fear of how do you sustain your lifestyle? How do you live subsequently if you leave this job? Then I was even unmarried. I was single. But I was still afraid because there was this standard that has been set. But I told myself, hey, I had to, give myself a deadline. So I gave myself a 6 years deadline. That, look, I can't do this for more than 6 years. And I left banking about 5.5 years into it. I got a job with another company that allowed me time to be able to, do more. But unfortunately, I got an audit job. I was head of risk management and internal controls. And as a person, I love people. I love to help people. I love to, take people out of difficult situations. But as an auditor, my job was to always put people in trouble, in quotes, because a lot of people were doing the wrong things. So as soon as I write my reports, they get into trouble. Some people will get sacked and all of that. And I was getting the money, I was getting everything, but I wasn't fulfilled. I was like, no, me, I love to help people. Though. So I became a threat to people. Even the ones that don't want to love me, they are loving me by force. Madam Joy, everywhere, madam. But I know it's because of fear. So you can't really see people who will truly love you. And I wanted people to really love me. I wanted to be of true help to people. So I told myself, no, this is not my passion. And that is another thing about being afraid. You need to walk in the space of your passion so that your passion will be strong enough to help you face whatever fears. So what I decided to do was leave the job. And I remember somebody telling me, then I had gotten married and I think I had a daughter then. So, your child is still small. You're leaving this job. As at that time, 2007, I was doing like 8 figures already with an official car and everything. And it was nice. But I told myself, if I was to operate in this space, then I won't be fulfilled. Whatever it is we are doing, we should always look out for fulfillment, because it is beyond money at times. It is about how you feel at the end of the day. You want to go to bed at night and you reflect about your day and you are happy that you have impacted lives. So I told myself, no, this job won't give me that kind of satisfaction. And thankfully, I was in business process consulting, where I help companies put structures in place. You want to set up a company, I help you put your operational manuals in place and all of that. So immediately I left, I started consulting. I consulted for some small companies, and I was seeing the effect of what I was doing. I was happy, adding value. In that process, I came across network marketing, and I saw an opportunity to help so many people. And I just connected with the system so well. I was able to help people, and I continued to help. And the thing that kept pushing me was that, look, your children are small. If you leave this job, you will suffer. And we have two types of motivation: the away from and towards motivation. I told myself, I will not suffer. I will make sure I was like away from that thing that somebody said. Our mind has the unconscious part of it, where we absorb even things that were said in passing, not said to us. And those things begin to become our reality. So when that person said, if you don't have a job like this and you are just beginning your life, you just have a child, you're going to suffer. Your child will suffer. The unconscious mind absorbs that immediately. So I began to fight it with away from motivation. I don't want this. So everything I had, I was putting into network marketing, and I realized that we could actually do it professionally and get better results. So I told myself I was going to go professional. I was going to learn all I can to succeed in this business. And I went on to realize that in that space, because it is a people business, you need to understand how people behave and how you can manage people better. And that brought me into NLP. I eventually became an NLP performance and results coach, where I help people produce results and connect with people at their unconscious level, beginning to see what exactly is wrong with this person. Why is this person not producing results? And I began to come to a realization that there are so many reasons why people are being held down. Limiting beliefs. I cannot do this. Somebody has told me that I cannot do this, so it won't happen. Somebody has said network marketing is tough. Somebody has failed in it before, so me too, I will fail. No. And one thing I tell people I meet, whatever your profession, you need to control the energy around you. It is called energy leadership. Lead your energy. No matter what is happening around you, decide to go with positive energy and only absorb positive things around you. And, replicate that to the people around you so that you are resonating at a positive frequency. The vibes you are giving out will be positive all the time. Start your day right. I'm very big on affirmations. You wake up in the morning, what are you telling yourself? Even when what you are seeing is negative, you are telling yourself, you are a success. This is happening for you, no matter the circumstances. I am an excellent woman. I'm a home builder. I'm impacting my world. Forget about what the reality is. Create your own reality. And then you see fear begin to disappear. You see, fear starts as a big thing. But when you face it, it begins to shrink. It begins to shrink, and you begin to take action that will make it shrink even more. Then set goals. Set goals. When I left and started business, I went into investment and all of that. I got into serious debts that I'm still paying. In fact, at the point I went into panic attacks. I was afraid that that. But I began to think about it. If I do not face this fear, it will continue to look bigger than me. So let's face it. And believe you me, as soon as I decided to face it squarely, the thing began to shrink. And gradually, I'm getting over this. And that is the same thing we need to understand. That fear can overpower us, but we have been made to be superior to fear. And that's why the God factor comes in. There's always that God factor that can suppress whatever fear you have. So you must connect. You must connect to God. And one of the things I use is gratitude. It is very important. As much as you have fears, you have concerns, you have everything that is bothering you, there are things you can be grateful for every single day.
Thank you. That's why I ended up with that. Be grateful. I learned from that. Be grateful. Okay, right now I'm bringing in our last speaker, Amy. I met Amy was it 2 years ago in Benin City? Yeah, it was 2020. I didn't travel. 2019. That was the first time. I've been training for 10 years in Abuja. About more than 100,000 persons in Abuja have been in my different training, but I've never gone to Benin City. And I'm from Edo State. A lot of people just know me, but they don't know that I'm from Edo State. So I just felt like, why don't I go to my state and go and do something for people in Edo State? So I decided when I was that for the 10th anniversary, I'll go to my state. And I went to Benin, and I loved the people I met in Benin. These are young ladies, young men who are they're just ready to accept the internet business. They were just really ready, looking for somebody to come and help them out. So that was where I met Emmy, and it's been fun. You know, every time she sends me a message, thank you for coming. Ever since I met you. And you know, one time I was talking to Emmy, I think I was supposed to do something, and she said to me that she wasn't feeling fine. Told me how she had overcome kidney problem and all that. Emmy, sorry, I'm using all that just to motivate. And I look at this strong lady that I'm always looking at, a strong lady. She has, you know, so many experiences. So I won't take it off you. So let's hear from you, Emmy.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. I'm so glad to be here. Well done. Everyone who has spoken has done absolutely well, and I've learned a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Love. It has been a great honor knowing you. So today I'm going to be talking about two major fears I've had. Growing up, I had the fear of death and the fear of poverty. How did the fear of death come about? I've had, you know, right from my primary school days, I've had health challenges that, you know, kept fighting and all that. But it got to a point when I was about 13 years old, I met another 13-year-old as well, who was suffering from kidney issues. She had kidney failure. She was, you know, already swelling up and all that. So that made me get really scared. I was afraid. I was like, if a young girl like this has this issue, you know, what if it happens to me? I just kept thinking that. And then one day I was feeling some pain around my side, and something told me, what if you have kidney issues? And I said, God forbid. But that was it. I didn't face the fact that, well, I could do more to challenge that fear. But the fear, you know, it kept on building up. And sometime in 2011, I started having kidney issues. So then I realized that it seems like what you're actually afraid of can actually comes to pass if you don't face it. So this issue started in 2011, and after a while, I went for surgery. I got better and kept on moving with my life. Then in 2014, it came back again, and this time it was worse. I fought this for about 5 years. I was working, just got married, and schooling at the same time. So I had so much to do. And I was wondering, how do I do this? I needed the money from where I was working. I was teaching computer science at the time. I needed money to fight this. I needed to buy my drugs and all that. This happened for like 5 years. And at a point, my boss even called me and said, you're always in and out of the hospital. You're always sick. This is affecting your productivity. Why don't you just quit and take care of yourself? At that point, I became really afraid. I was like, okay, now poverty is about to set in. Because I had already had that fear, some hidden, you know, in me, that poverty fear, because growing up, things were not so rosy, and I always wanted to be better than what I saw around me. So after spending virtually all my livelihood on taking care of my health, it became so bad that at a point, I couldn't even afford a sanitary pad. It was that bad. So in 2017, I decided to just move a step further. I decided that I can't continue like this. And we have, you know, previously talked about this, the God factor and all that. So I started taking seriously what my pastor would teach and what he would say. And I started um, professing to myself every day. I started speaking success and health tablets into my life. And that helped me a lot throughout 2017. And somewhere between 2017 and 2018, I decided that I couldn't just, be alone fighting this. I couldn't. I knew I needed people, because in this life, you need people to help you to go through your challenges. So there are these three people. I decided to have a kind of circle of friends, three people, and it has been awesome. It was just like I was in the middle of a triangle, and these three people closed up, and then I was able to keep telling myself that things are going to get better. You're not going to die from this disease. You're not, And for 2 years that continued, and they have been awesome. And then in 2019, just before I met Madam Love, I had just had two surgeries, two kidney surgeries. And I started getting a lot better, and I'm fine now, thanks to God. But there's something that I kept doing apart from professing success and health tablets into my life. And also apart from, talking with these three people who helped me overcome a lot of my challenges, I also told myself that, see, for you to move forward in life, because at this point I had already quit my job, and I started doing little things in the house, making braids just to survive, just to be able to do the things I needed to do. And at a point, I said, whoa, I studied computer science and I actually love the IT world. So why don't I just, think about something? And the name indoor tech as in indoor technology just came to mind. And I'm like, okay, why am I thinking of indoor? And I laughed that day. I was like, oh, is it because I'm indoor? Like I stay at home all the time? Can I say to myself, I can actually build a business staying at home. So that was how that business started in 2019, just before I met Madam Love. So I have always had the flair for website creations and all that. So I started, learning more of it and started doing small jobs here and there. And that's how I started coming out little by little from the low financial state that we were in at the time because of the two surgeries I had to undergo. So at this point, I would like to say that apart from speaking success and health tablets into my life, I also surrounded myself with a solid support system, which are the three friends I told you about. And then I learned to listen to my gut feeling. Sometimes there's this thing that will always tell you, do this or go ahead. And sometimes you want to shy away from it. Let me tell you what happened before I went to Madam Love's seminar. I didn't have any money on me at all that day. So I said to myself, something told me, go, you have to be there. So I borrowed transport fare that day and I came. And that has changed my life. Meeting her has been awesome. So I found myself a mentor, which is in Madam Love when it comes to internet business. And I've been following her and I'm still learning, I'm still following her. She's superb. I asked her one day, I said, where do you get your strength from? Because really, I don't know. She's something else. So following her has been awesome. And then I also am always ready to serve. At the point where I almost lost it, I realized that it's not always all about the money, but when you find opportunities, even if there is no money attached to it, just dive in, just serve. And at a point, you will get back in millions just by serving. So I learned to delay gratification. And that has helped me a lot in my business and in everything that I do. So 6 things that I did basically was build my spiritual life. And I spoke health and success tablets into my life. I surrounded myself with a solid support system, and I found myself a mentor, and I'm always ready to serve. So those 6 things are things that I did and I'm still doing every day to help me become that woman I want to be. Because believe you me, I'm not there yet. I'm just starting, and I can see myself, way, way there. So that has been my story, and that was what I
Wow.
did. Yes. Thank you so much.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Emmy. Oh, guys, today has been so wonderful. As if it shouldn't come to an end. I've learned. So I want all of us to put in the chat box one thing you're taking home, one new thing you have learned today. Put in the chat box. Let's see, one new thing you have learned today. Put that in the chat box first. Then we'll now take questions. We'll take questions. Okay, Emmy said gratitude. One thing you've learned today, put in the chat box. So we are now going to take questions as well. So if you have questions, you can raise your hand. I'm going to ask you to unmute. You can raise your hand or you put it in the chat box. So someone said, dear ladies, please add writing to your passion and reach out to, okay, you're an editor. Most of us are writers. I have 3 books already. So you should be reaching out to us. You are the marketing here. Okay, yes, determination. Rosemary said, I love determination. Okay, ladies, do you have questions? If you have, I know we have some men in here, so you guys are also learning. So I told all the men, I don't want to see your face off the camera, but don't worry, we can allow you to take questions. Okay, Madam BC said, always ready to serve. Yes, that's good. Always ready to serve. Okay, ladies, do we have questions? If you have questions, I'll put in the chat box. If you're I learn to open up and find myself a mentor. Joy, seek help and support when facing fearful challenges. Yes, so Gochi, face your fears. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, do we have anybody who have a question, a suggestion, or comment? Before we call it a day, I have learned so much. It's been wonderful 2 hours together. Grace said, facing my fear and achieving my dream no matter what. Yes, it is possible. Get a support system and always speak up. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Any question for any of our speakers? Okay. Any other person? Okay, so I want to believe that you have gained something today. Okay, Veronica said, everyone has fear, and I can face mine as well. Jane, I learned how to always be positive. I've learned so much today, so much. And I'm going home. I'm going home. I'm going to be better than who I was yesterday. Because that's one thing about me. That's one thing I also use. I always want to be better than who I was yesterday. I'm not out for, I know people talk about competition, competing with others. I compete less with others. That's my lifestyle. I compete more with myself. So I want to learn new things every day. That's why I'm always going for courses and learning. So Grace said she has a question. Grace, you want to talk or you want to write your question? Let me ask you to. Okay, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself now. So Grace, you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay, you are typing your question. Okay, no problem. We'll read your question. So let's also learn to compete with ourselves. And that is by learning something new every day. I was telling, okay, Peggy said, accepting yourself, face your fear boldly, and be willing to learn new things daily. I was telling someone yesterday about Today's Leaders International, and I was discussing, because we use our office. For now, we're using our office as our training center, because right now we're training our staff, our tutors. Now, Today's Leaders International is basically a school, an online school for entrepreneurs, where you can learn from being your vocational skills, learn how to grow your business. And because I've been a networker for years, I know that using network marketing model is always a good way to make your business grow faster. So we are bringing in network marketing model. So as I was explaining to her what we are about to start, she was like, many people, the problem is that they will come, join, and come and make money. And I told her that I have, over the years as a trainer, I've learned that when you have 100 people sitting in your hall, only about 20% will use that. So the same thing, if we start our online school, some people, they are coming just to make money, not to learn. But you will still have that 5% that are coming to learn. So if we have that 5% that are coming to learn how to become a seasoned entrepreneur, because that's our vision. Our vision is to raise a seasoned entrepreneur in every home. If we have just 5% that we have helped through Today's Leaders International to become a seasoned entrepreneur, I will be happy. I have achieved my goal. So she is also a trainer. She said 5% safe, that even if it's 1%. And I said, if we have 5% more knowledgeable entrepreneur, it means that we'll have people that will take off jobless people off the road, and we will be contributing our quota to help the government of our country. So that's it. So today, you are here today. I am also very sure that some of us, when you just, as you are living, you're letting it go. Don't let everything you've taken go without you start using it. No matter the fear you are facing right now, there may be someone out there you will talk to that would help you out. So you must learn to speak up. Look for that person that can help you face your fear. We go through different fears at different time of our life. Right now that I want to start my company, Today's Leaders International, which is like is a huge business. There are some fears. As a matter of fact, some challenges are already shooting up, but I know I will overcome them one after the other. It's just like that. It's a continuous thing, just like Madam Lillian said. And I'm coming, in fact, it's even good that I brought you women here. I'm discovering you. So our result coach, I'm coming to you for some things. Madam Lillian, the plant man, I'm coming to you. So that's it. Don't think that you are alone. Now, Grace said, how can a single mother train a child and also achieve a dream? Because sometimes there's something I really want to do, but because of my child, I can't. I'm limited to do it. How can I overcome those challenges? How can a single mother train a child and also achieve my dream? Because sometimes there are some things I want to do, but because of my child, I can't. I'm limited to do. How can I overcome those challenges? Would any of us want to help Grace out with a question? Then Grace, it would have been nice to give us some example, because is it like you want to go out or you want to buy some things for yourself? So maybe that would also help us in answering your question. But as it is, can anyone, one of the panelists, help her with a question? How can a single mother train a child? So our results coach, Madam Joy.
Yeah, I was going to take it. Earlier today, I was on a women's talk show where we're talking about, women having a session just for themselves. Like you asked her, we want to really know what exactly is the thing you are trying to do. Are you trying to study? Are you trying to start a business? Or you are trying to go out like Madam Love said? Now, the truth is this. Whatever it is, just like every other woman, even if you see a woman with 4 children, don't assume that that woman is not a career woman or she's not following her dreams. She has just learned time management and how to prioritize things. So if you have your dreams, the first thing you need to know is that there are several areas of your life. It's not just about family. I was sharing earlier today, the fact that somebody is not married doesn't make the person less of a woman. The fact that somebody is married, she doesn't have children, doesn't make her less of a woman. The fact that you are a woman with children doesn't make you a furniture in the house. You have your own life, you have your own dreams. Imagine what you were thinking when you were in secondary school or university. Those things can become realities. So all you need to do, we have said something about mentors. You know, I so much love the video we started with, Madam Love's story. You need to find a mentor that would let you connect with yourself. You see, I'm big on subconscious. There are so many things in our subconscious that have, you know, distorted the reality for us. So once you have identified what you want to do, get a mentor that will guide you through the process, and then come down to the level of time management. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. By the time you manage yourself well, using the Pareto principle, I always share that. See, look at 20% of your activities that can give you 80% of the results, so that you manage those 20% activities well, so that at the end of the day, you are able to have good results. A lot of people during the COVID period were able to achieve a lot of qualifications sitting at home. And that is the new normal now. Don't think that you have to go out to become successful. Like Emmy was sharing before, you can be an indoor success. And that's the new reality now. If you go abroad, people are working from home. So you need to connect with people that can show you what you can do while taking care of your baby.
That's a new normal.
That baby should be a propeller for you to achieve your dreams. You want to create something that the baby would inherit or be proud of tomorrow. So don't let that baby be a hindrance. Absolutely. You just need to connect with the right people, and they'll put you through. Madam Love is always here.
Thank you. I add the staff.
Madam Love,
okay.
Hello, Madam Love. Yes, let me add before you summarize.
Okay.
I also want to encourage her that being a single mother shouldn't stop your dream, and you also shouldn't be too hard on yourself. Even though you are with your husband, there are certain things you still might not be able to do because you are raising up your children. So I want to encourage you, like Madam Joy has said, work within your time frame. You know, prioritize. Know when your child, you know, should be at school at some certain time. Work within those times. Ensure that you do what you are able to do within that time. And those ones you can't do, don't be too hard on yourself. You still have years ahead of you. If you are not able to do it because your child is still in kindergarten, you might do it when the child is in secondary school. But the main thing is, do you have a focus? Don't allow that dream to die because you have a child. Keep nurturing it. If you're supposed to put in 10 hours because of the child, you can do 5 hours. The most important thing is that you are moving. During International Women's Day on the 8th, I gave a speech. I said, it's not about how many mileage you have covered. But what matters is you are on motion. You are doing something consciously. You are not where you used to be yesterday. So see that child as a motivating factor. That because of this child, I'm going to do better. So that I can be like Okonjo Iweala. His children, you know, anywhere in the world will be proud of their mother. So just keep focused. Don't be too hard on yourself. Yes, don't be too hard on yourself. One step at a time. One step at a time. Then when the child is able to maybe stay longer time in school or be in boarding house, you can now explore and you do much than you weren't able to do yesterday. So be encouraged.
Okay, thank you. At the time, I had a staff who I met in a seminar, one of my seminars, And after the seminar, she came to meet me and said that she had 2 children. She's a graduate. The year she graduated was the year she got married. And she just said, "Man, the love, my life don't scatter. Because I have children, I don't have a life again. That my husband did not allow me to work. Now I don't have any income. Now things are hard for my husband. My life don't scatter. I just need your help. I want to work." Even though I didn't need an extra hand at that time, I just wanted to encourage her, so I employed her. And when I employed her, and I started telling her about doing business aside, even though you're working for me, I said, well, if you get home in the evening, can you still sell chin-chin? Can you still sell things for your neighbor? Because I found out that she can bake very well, something me I define. So I told her, can you still do this? And by the time she spent 3 months with me, she was like, Madam Love, I so appreciate you that she was actually beginning to hate her children, thinking that they were hindrance for her. So I now said, you can see, our kids are supposed to be our motivator, the greatest motivator. And one thing I have done, maybe because I'm in the private business, when I had my daughter, any meeting, no matter how executive the meeting is, I must tell them ahead that I will come with my daughter. And at the time, my daughter may want to wee or anything. So what I do, I got nanny. So even if you cannot afford nanny, you will be surprised. I don't know. I don't think I did it, but in Wazobia, because I had to go to Wazobia like every Sunday at the time, Wazobia FM. I used to go with my daughter. I went to a particular state. I said, this child was going to the station with me because she won't stay outside. So the radio station said, we don't allow people in. I said, the NBC will change that rule because of me. So eventually they allowed me in. So when I go to some radio stations, I will go in with my daughter. And when I'm talking sometimes she will chip in, she will do her own noise and all that. But like Wazobia FM is a pidgin English, so they won't turn it to funny things. They will even turn it to fun. So we all laugh. People got used to me on radio that I am that woman that will come with my daughter. Anywhere they go, they follow me. Now that I now have twins, addition. Okay, can see what happened now. I was doing training, they quickly called me. I went to lock the door. Now, why did I go to lock the door? In the course of this, having our kids, one thing I've learned as women, don't think that because you're not there for some time, your child will die. No lie. The child will not die. God will take care of that child. So when I had my house up, I have one house up, and my mother-in-law, she's over 80 years. Sometimes I'll be so scared to go to the market. I'll be so scared to go somewhere. One day, I got tired. I told my husband, throughout last year, 2020, I gave people money. I couldn't buy anything for myself. This year, I told my husband, look, I want to spoil myself. I'm going to spend 1 million naira on myself. I'll buy wigs. I will just spend 1 million. My husband said, I said, I will withdraw for my Bitcoin money. I won't spoil myself. I went to market in the morning. I came back around 5. I left my baby. My baby's with my grandmother. I went to enjoy myself. I came back, they are there strong, playing. They don't even know their mom that went out. So what am I trying to say? Just live that life. Do your best. Don't think that if you are not there for some time, your children, anything will happen to them. God will be there to take care of them. So that's it. So you need to learn to manage with that girl. And I know your daughter, she's not even troublesome. At least I know her. Thank God I know her. She can cope with herself. So maybe you want to go out somewhere sometime. You also need to have support. Just like Emi said about the triangle. She's already like 7 years. Sometimes you can go and drop her somewhere. Like if you want to go to a place that you trust, you can go and give to, your sister or your friend. Now people are scared because of what is happening. Family itself, they can molest the child. So I understand. But sometimes pray to God and do your best and go do your thing and come back and nothing will happen. So I want to say thank you to everyone. We are going to call it a day now. We have done well for ourselves. All my panelists, I really appreciate you. All the women and the men that came in to listen to us. This would definitely turn this to a video on our YouTube channel as well, so we can share, so more women can learn from what we've shared here today. So thank you. Bye to everyone. It's been a great day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.